This is sort of a video just explaining how your suffering isn't necessarily going to completely end by the time you've become the person you want to be. Now, this is not coming from the perspective of someone who is completely who they want to be. I'm still changing and constantly evolving, but I'd like to just describe what happened today. So I went to where I was going, not going to list out the county, but I went to that place to do this kind of training for showing people around the college campus. And I realized while I was there that, gosh, when I'm here, I just feel like I have no ambition to do anything, and it I don't want to. I don't even care that much about business. I can lose my passion for just about everything, because like I'm trying to just listen to people who and be in a group of people, and I'm not really working towards my purpose or anything. And that I found it was more painful in the moment than cold calling would usually be for me, because at least with cold calling I'm moving towards my goal, whereas at that particular point in time I wasn't. So I just had to find a way to sort of convince my brain that it was worth it, and that my time was not going to waste. But this is kind of the thing. It's kind of a thing of ongoing suffering. You have to recognize that when you complete one challenge, you accomplish your goal in some regard. Then there's another is just going to come to pass immediately, and that's why people usually suggest, it's almost a cliche at this point, that you before you accomplish one goal, you set another goal that's higher than that goal. So if you're making like 10 grand a month, you set a goal for 50 grand a month when you're making 9 grand a month and about to hit that first goal, so that you never truly hit the goal, but you're constantly progressing, because we are motivated and fueled by progress, not completion. Like I was absolutely fueled by the progression of myself going through Elden Ring and getting all the trophies and beating all the bosses and just becoming the unstoppable warrior. But when I had that all finished, I didn't really care anymore, because I was back to reality, and I was in the leaving cert. Didn't matter at all. So we are motivated as humans more so by progress than by completion, which is why you should constantly kind of loop yourself into a state of progress. Now, I still haven't completed my goal, but when I do, I'm going to need to be prepared to set it even higher, because it'll have been so amazing and all, just getting the progress up there in the first place and actually making the money I need to make. But when I when I do that and I accomplish it, then what's gonna come next? Like my brain's gonna need to keep something within its feedback loop, or else I'll get depressed or something. So I'm gonna need to brace myself for that onset of unexpected suffering, which comes from not being as ambitious or as hungry as I was. And just there before I watched this video, I ate a Rocky bar and I ate a Milka wafer thing, just to try it out. I think I went a bit overboard on the chocolate, but um, anyway, yeah, I need to care about my physical health possibly a bit more. I'm not sure if that was the best idea, but I see people on YouTube, and again, it's kind of like, oh, I see this random person, I'm taking information off of them and just displaying it out, but that's not always the case. Like I'm making logical sense with this. Like I see people on YouTube saying, I'm depressed now, I have nothing to do, I've done what I set out to do. And that's exactly how I felt when I got the amazing grades. Well, I'm not calling myself amazing or anything, but by most people's standards, my grades were pretty good. So I got the good grades anyway, and I used to envy people who were in my position, who were like, oh my gosh, they already have the leavings are done and they've done pretty well on it. Imagine never having to worry about that again. I don't feel a thing anymore. I just don't care about that at all. And putting the survival state aside, it might be which is no small task, by the way, in this situation. Well, if I actually achieved like my goal, which would be 10 grand a month, around that point, would I actually really continue to feel amazing about it all the time? Likely not. Like, hopefully it will increase my serotonin or dopamine levels, and make me, or maybe I could just get therapy or something, and I'll be able to afford it that way. But other than that, the goal itself is, it's going to make me feel like I can do things and achieve more goals, but it's not going to be the end all be all of my life. It's only going to be the beginning, because I have an entirely different plan after this. After I succeed in this, I'm planning on getting this agency eventually to 100 grand a month, and then the agency model kind of caps off by then, and you can't really get it much higher than that. So I'll probably stick it around there, because you could go to 200 or 300 grand a month, but your operational capacity is going to be so much higher, which means you're gonna have to outsource a lot more, and therefore your profit is going to plateau after a certain point. Yet the mental bandwidth is still going to be increasing, so I'll have to still increase the amount of time I'm spending thinking about how to get results for these people when there's more people. So there's no point in going above 100 grand a month. It's only going to be 100 grand a month, and that's it. And after that, I will have to use some sort of other vehicle to get to above that, and I'm going to keep that in place, because if you have, you know, 100 grand a month income, you make over 1 million a year, then you shouldn't really abandon that, and I'm never going to abandon that unless I really have to. I don't know, but I don't think so. But anyway, my goal is improving it. Actually, no, I'm not going to mention it, because someone's going to steal my niche, and I'm not dumb enough to say it on a video. But yeah, that's basically it. Don't put yourself through unnecessary suffering, but just know that suffering's always going to be there. I was suffering today when I was at college, because it's not, like, no offense to the people in the college, but they're not really the ideal sort of people I want to be hanging out with when I myself am pursuing something greater every single day and doing sales every single day. That's not really the future I intend to have. I intend to have a future where I'm kind of around really like successful people who push themselves as hard as I do, and that's, college is just a place kind of where dreams die, because you get comfortable and then you start going out every night. You get comfortable with the work. It's so easy in first year, and you do nothing, and then you piss away 4 months going out and again getting drunk, and you just waste time twiddling your thumbs and playing games, or watching something you shouldn't be watching, and that's really not the type of environment or community or atmosphere I want to be around. And again, I'm not judging anyone for doing that. They can do that. It's just that I myself am not going to let myself be brought down to that standard, because the standards we hold ourselves to are pretty much in direct alignment to what we hold each other, hold the people around us to. And the latter must come first. Like, you must change the people who are around you to actually impact how you see yourself. Now, it's sort of bugging me how dark this is, so I'm going to turn my light on. Sorry about that. Yeah, that's way better. So, I think that, yeah, this kind of just became a rant about how you need to talk about who you should surround yourself with. But yeah, that's basically the story. Like, I'm not going to surround myself with people who aren't also doing sales. I I get on some coaching calls, and I just get told, okay, but you're kind of doing it wrong, because I'm like, there's a really weak part of me inside me that I just don't like, that gets slightly offended at that. It's like, oh, that hurt. but then my tougher self is like, shut up. We're taking this on board because it'll probably work, and usually it does. Sometimes it doesn't, but you know, the whole point is not to get offended. And with college, you have people like, seriously, today when they were doing the campus tours, they said, introduce yourself, what you're studying, what year you're in, and what your pronouns are. And I was just like, my gosh, like this is the priority that people are having. Like it's just not really something that I don't know. I don't think I'd be interested in, because people are like prioritizing things that don't really even matter that much. Because you know, again, I'm not getting into a discussion about this because I'm sick of it and stuff. But you know, we know that obviously you don't need to bother looking at things that don't have a direct impact on your life. And when you sorry, people just focus on folly and stuff, and that's okay again for them, but it's causation. And they can enjoy that, they can enjoy adding drama to their lives, which is unnecessary, but it spices up the dullness, I suppose. But I'm gonna just suffer and let the dullness burn away naturally. The college is such a coddly environment, man. It's just so like, oh man, accept yourself. If you don't feel like doing something, then don't do it. Like, wow. If you don't feel like doing something, it's that's good for you. It's because a part of your current identity doesn't align with what you're actually going for, which means if you want to change something about yourself, no, sorry, if you want to achieve something, you have to change something about yourself. And that part of your subconscious mind that says we shouldn't do this, you just need to burn it away with suffering. And that's what I've been doing for the last 3.5 months. I've been burning that part of my mind away with complete suffering, and I'm able to easily talk to people. I've become way more. I'm not going to call myself confident because that just sounds like I'm an absolute D head, but I'm going to say that I don't have the fears and apprehensions that I used to have. I'm able to talk better, and I don't sound like I'm forcing myself to do anything. So that's basically the story. I think that we should strive to be the not the best versions of ourselves, but to be the versions of ourselves that can achieve what we need to achieve, which is a version of ourselves that doesn't exist yet. And you just need to kind of burn yourself into the shoes of that person. And it's just so true. Like you build yourself into another person, and then that person takes over, and that's really it. Sounds brutal, but it's not really like it's not really killing yourself psychologically, because you just like the parts of you that suck, you just take them away, and then you keep the good parts and you keep enhancing them or something. I don't know. I'm not going to pretend I understand this even 1% of the way, but that's what I've been getting so far from this process and transformation. And most of my transformational agony thankfully is over, and I'm much more pain tolerant of a person, so I'm likely never going to like writhe in pain like it was that one Thursday. That was just the most painful day I ever had in cold calling. I didn't think it could even get that bad, but ever since then it's been okay, because like nothing can compare to that time, that version of myself. Like it's like my old self, which was like, oh no, we can't do this, just let me stay in bed. It was just going into berserker mode before it was about to pass away or something, and that would have been that Thursday. Then the Friday it felt okay again. Still feels painful from time to time, because that part of yourself never really dies out, but you just gotta keep going through it again and again. You can't let yourself plateau in terms of anything. I'm probably gonna need to revisit these videos myself, because we all forget. I forget the things that I say, and I use some of my own, don't tell this to anyone, but I use some of my own quotes that I post up on social media as sort of motivational hacks. Like, even Sisyphus condemned to pushing a boulder up a hill 369 times started to feel satisfaction in the process. Just stuff like that. It's it's good because it doesn't coddle your mind. It just it applies an expression of virtue to it.